On today's show, it is part 2 with my friend Ben Pfeifer joining me to talk about the NBA draft through the lens of the Hawks, and it's coming up right now.
You are Locked On Hawks, your daily Atlanta Hawks podcast, part of the Locked On Podcast Network. Your team every day.
Hello, friends. Welcome to episode 2002 of the Locked On Hawks podcast. I am your host, Rowland, coming to you on a Friday evening here into almost the NBA draft, and I want to encourage you at the top of the show, as I always do, to make Locked On Hawks your first listen each and every day. Check us out and subscribe to the show anywhere you find your podcast. That includes YouTube and Apple and Spotify, etc. Again, anywhere you find your podcast, we should be there. Tell your friends, and I appreciate you being here as always. This is going to be part 2 of 2 with myself and Ben Pfeifer. So if you missed part 1, go back and listen to that part of the conversation first. So you have the linear order of this chat between myself and Ben about the NBA draft. Should be the same podcast feed right now. So start there and then come back to part 2. And that's all I have. Without any further delay, we'll dive back in now with part 2 with myself and Ben Pfeifer. I want to kind of group some guys together, and it's more bigs. We talked about Malawach and Queen already. If I had to guess, they'll probably both be gone by Atlanta's pick, my guess. But look, everyone knows, we already referenced it. Hawks fans all want to take a big, so I want to talk about some bigs with you. You got, in no particular order, you have Thomas Sorber as a potential, even at 13 kind of pick. Some people think Noa Essengue is a pure big. I'll include his name in here. You mentioned Kalkbrenner. You've got a guy. I think you're lower on Beringer than some people are, but he's been talked about as high as 13.
I've warmed up a bit to him. I'm interested to talk about him, but yeah.
I mean, even some people like Danny Wolf, who I don't love, but Danny Wolf's gotten some late lottery, mid first round buzz. Hawks fans love Reynaud. Like they're all in on Maxime Reynaud right now.
I've seen that. So
it's a wide range of guys, but as far as bigs are concerned, because again, I wanted to lead with that in this discussion. How are you viewing the center? Is Sorber like the next best guy for you? Clearly, after Malawach and Queen, is that where you are?
I would say so. Yeah, Sorber to me is like another pretty locked in lottery guy. I am a huge fan of his. I think he would be great in Atlanta. Like not as perfect as Malawach necessarily, but he would be sick in Atlanta. And then to me, there's like it's not a good center class just because like a lot of the best bigs are like weirdos like Queen and CMB. Like it's a really good just like front court class, but it's not a great true center class. Like I love Vlad Golden, as well, maybe we'll talk about later.
As I do.
It's like I said, I like Kalkbrenner, would love him at 22, just a little rich for me to take him at 13. I like Janai Broom. I like Asa in the late first, but not where he's gonna go. Beringer, honestly, I'm warming up to and becoming more Beringer curious. But I mean, Sorber's the guy to me. I would love him for the Hawks. I've done that in mocks before. I've given him to Atlanta, and I think it just makes a lot of sense offensively and defensively. He's really good.
What do you like about him? As I talked about him too. What do you like about Sorber? What's the pitch?
Sorber is awesome. I mean, he's just like a rock solid, high feel, big player who contributes on offense. He contributes on defense. His defense is probably his main sell, where his interior defense is so awesome. Like he's more of like a drop big, mid drop paint protector. Only 6'9", but has like a 7'6" wingspan or something absurd like that. It is truly insane, and his standing reach is really big too. I don't have it off the top of my head. He plays much bigger than his
9. So I have it here. It's 7'6" wingspan, 9'1" standing reach, and 262 pounds at the combine.
Yeah, I mean, he's third in the class in block rate behind Beringer and Yannick Coden-Niederhauser, who is not a first-round guy.
He's athletic, though.
He's very athletic. He's very athletic. And Sorber is significantly shorter than both of those guys. Yep. His timing is awesome. His discipline is so good. He's really good at just like the hand-eye coordination, tracking the ball in the air. Like isn't that crazy of a mover, and is probably going to be a little limited in terms of like coverage versatility. But he can cover like a little ground and switch in a straight line. He just can't change directions. And then offensively, he's not like an incredible scorer or anything, but he finished, fairly well this year. It wasn't like incredible by center standards. But his touch is nice. He's a good like post and face up drive scorer. He's a really nice short roll and like intermediate passer. He's not as good as like Murray Boyles or Queen to me, but
Yeah.
he can definitely like make some nice passes out of the post and, just like process the floor quickly. And I think he honestly has like kind of an interesting shooting projection because he'll take like movement mid ranges, and the threes he does take are like very good threes. It's not super scientific, but I feel like I kind of have like he could be an all right shooter and definitely from mid range, but just someone who like I don't think has much of a star ceiling, but good center play is so important in the league, and especially for the Hawks, who I think are kind of built on the perimeter and have been forever, really. Like,
Yeah.
And I think just having a guy like Sorber who can fit that mold, who can run dribble handoffs, who can, play in space, but also like provides that crazy rim protection is just a really good bet. Like he's not going to be star. And if you're looking for a higher ceiling guy here, then you'd probably look elsewhere. But I think Sorber makes a ton of sense for the fit and just the value as well.
I really like Sorber, always have. You're right. I don't think of him as like a super high upside bet. That's okay to me though at 13. Like if he's the best guy available, if the board breaks a certain way, I'd be intrigued by that. He's not sexy, but has and by the way, he's not like, I know he's not a 7-footer, but we mentioned the measurables. He's plenty of center size. Like he's bigger than a Kongwu. Like he's more like, look, to use the Hawks reference, Capella is not a 7-footer, and no one's ever thought about Capella as being like super undersized. Like he's just
right because he's super explosive and long and plays big. I mean, Sorber's not explosive, but
he's not. But Sorber is just huge. I mean, huge. Like physically,
he's just a gigantic person.
Right. So I wouldn't be worried about that as much with him. Let's take it center. I mean, we talked about Beringer. I've heard he's got some like actual juice. And it's weird. Like he's fast rising. He measured really well at the combine, like kind of unexpectedly, which was interesting. Like I'm looking at it now. 6'11" without shoes was bigger than he was expected to be. 7'4.5" wingspan, like real center size. There was a thought he gets Capella Cups all the time. Beringer, because raw, rim running, big, European, young, all these things. You said you come around on him a little bit. Does that mean you come around him to like middle of the first round range, or are you thinking 22? Like
not really.
I don't know where you are on, and what I will say, and I'll tee you up, he's definitely a project. This is a guy who's not going to be ready to go anytime soon.
Yeah, so Beringer, I don't know. It's probably like closer to Beringer, but I don't want to like be that guy, so I'll just anglicize it.
That's fine.
Yeah, Joan is, he's a huge project. The first couple, maybe like 4 or 5 games I watched of him early in the season, I thought it was like not prospect tape. Like this is just like not even someone I'm considering as like a guy who I'm thinking about as a draft player at the moment. Just like so raw in terms of feel and awareness and positioning and like his hands and his ball skills. He definitely got better as the season went on, and I probably wasn't giving him enough credit for like just how insane of a psycho athlete he is. I still think he looks a little smallish on tape sometimes against like the actual centers that he plays. The measurables are nice, but like I do wish he was like a little bit bigger, but he is like an actively kind of bad player at the moment, and he still like is able to dominate games at this level of competition because he just has a crazy high motor, and he gets so many tip-ins and an offensive rebounds. And even though he has, issues playing defense in terms of feel and positioning, like his versatility, the stuff he can do, like they'll hedge him out, they'll blitz him, and it just usually does not go well for opposing offenses. He jumps at everything. He's not super great at tracking the ball. Like his recognition is certainly an issue, but his physical tools are as crazy as they are. Like he's not super strong yet, and his like anchor isn't that good. But again, he's obviously very young, and he's just like his feet are so damn quick. You can't switch hunt him at this level. Maybe, and it's just like I wish we had a better sample of him against better, or like I wish he played in the combine scrimmages because that would just make me feel a little better. But it's just like one of those things where you're gonna probably be waiting 4 years for him to contribute on an NBA floor. But if you have the patience for that, it could be rewarding because like he's going to be a crazy just like lob finisher, and his shot blocking is so crazy. His rebounding is so crazy. I think like the hardest stuff is going to be the, you know, off ball defense, rim protection, pick and roll defense stuff. That's the hardest stuff to develop. But it's also like if you can get there, that's a scary player, like someone who could be a really high level defensive guy. And I understand like why people really like him. I think lottery is like kind of crazy for just someone that far away with, you know, such feel and like touch issues. But he's interesting. I definitely am higher on him than I used to be. I still view him as more of like a late first or like early second, late first kind of guy. That, you know, like I'd be cool with the Hawks. If the Hawks took him at 22, it wouldn't be like my favorite pick in the world, but I understand it. And I wouldn't like so criticize it. To me, the vision is like Daniel Gafford. It's like that kind of player. Where I don't know if he ever gets to like the level of a Capella where he's just that buttoned up as a, you know, a pick and roll defender. But Gafford, who just like is a perfectly solid drop defender who blocks shots. Like he's nothing crazy, but on good teams, he's really useful. Or like, what if he's just like who Willie Cauley-Stein was supposed to be? Like,
maybe.
What if he's like Willie Cauley-Stein who liked basketball more?
And
like
he went in the top 10. So.
Yeah, I mean, he was the first name I thought of when I was watching Beringer. It's like, and that's like high praise in my mind, or because Willie is one of the craziest defensive prospects I've ever watched on tape. Like his size and mobility are one of one. And Beringer is like not that level, but he's close enough. So yeah, I'm not crazy about him, but like I feel like I'm talking myself higher on him.
It makes sense. I mean, I get the appeal. I see it. I think I'm higher on him than you, but also I keep saying like it's going to take a while. It just is, and like you either have the appetite for that or you don't, you know. And also there's this whole discussion we have to have about like, is it wise like some of the rookie scale value that you're not going to get because he won't be there for 2 years probably. Like I don't even think it's 1 year. I think 1 year for sure. Like he's not going to help you.
He's like Caboclo levels of far away.
This was brought to you by CarGurus, and shopping for a car should be exciting, not exhausting. Between the confusing prices and the hidden fees, it can feel overwhelming sometimes, but that's why I love to use CarGurus. They help you cut out the noise and only show you the best deals with full confidence. They have over 4 million listings, and CarGurus has more new and used cars than any major online marketplace in the United States. They verify dealers, provide real price analysis, and give you the tools and data that you need to make the right choices without second-guessing yourself at all. If you need a deal that you can actually trust, CarGurus makes it easy to compare vehicles side by side with unbiased deal ratings. And the best feature of CarGurus might actually be the price drop alerts. You know exactly what you are going to be getting with the perfect car and when it's available for your budget. Plus the in-depth vehicle details give you peace of mind before stepping onto any car lot. It's no wonder that similar web estimated traffic data shows that CarGurus is the #1 most visited car shopping site. And you can buy or sell your next car today with CarGurus at CarGurus.com. That is CarGurus.com to make sure your big deal is the best deal. One more time, CarGurus, CarGurus.com. One more time here, it's CarGurus.com. Elsewhere, you mentioned Kalkbrenner. Do you think Noa Essengue is a big?
No.
Are you viewing him as a 4?
I think he's a wing.
Oh, really? Like pure wing?
A wing /4. I don't think he's a good rim protector. I don't think he can defend the rim as nearly as well as a 5 should. Like, first, he has very strange. His measurables are good, but they're just like unorthodox with like the +1 or +2 wingspan, like a 9'1", 9'2" standing reach at 6'11" or whatever. Like it's very strange. And obviously getting stronger is just going to help his. It's just going to help his ability to be a 5. But I really don't see him ever being like a shot blocker, nor do I want him to be there. Like his superpower to me is his perimeter defense. Like his ability to move his feet and change his hips and swivel and mirror and cut off like even guards is ridiculous for a guy of his size. Like I think he has, which is why I've ultimately gotten a little higher on him, despite not still being as crazy about him as some people. Like he does one thing to me that is so unbelievably good and can be very valuable. And he's like a disruptive off-ball defender. He can make some plays. He's a great transition scorer. But I think I'm banking on him for that. But like, he got fewer blocks than he had lower block rate this year than like Ace Bailey and Danny Wolf and Colin Murray Boyles and Alex Caravan and Vlad Golden and Cedric Coward and Carter Brown. It's like if he was a better, and obviously some of those guys, it's like it's different roles, and it's not just like he gets less blocks so he's worse. Like, but I just think that's a notable concern I have with him at like the highest end on defense, and more than a concern, just like why I don't view him as a center, I guess.
Yeah, no, that makes sense. And obviously he could be right there in that 13 range potentially. And just as he's really young, he's still 18.
Yeah, he's the second youngest player in the draft.
Yeah, really interesting package, but also a lot of uncertainty from what I can see. On the other side of that, I have to, it's not really a natural segue, but kind of the similar positionally maybe. Are you a Rasheer Fleming guy? Because he's another guy that Hawks fans really like. And is kind of there's always a debate with like, is he a big combo wing forward kind of guy? Like, obviously he's an older guy, 21, but people in Atlanta are interested in Rasheer Fleming.
He and Essengue are honestly kind of similar defensively to me. Like their main thing is that they're ridiculous on-ball defensive wings they're built different. Like Fleming is a brick house with a gigantic wingspan.
That's why I was a little bit weird about saying, because like they don't look the same.
But in terms of like their skill sets and their strengths, like I had a whole segment in this on the YouTube video I did on Fleming, like of his inability to like protect the rim at a high level. Like he's just not a vertical athlete. He's not that big. He's not as big as he needs to be, but he's a hell of a perimeter defender. He's so good guarding the ball. And I mean, I'd probably just like default Essengue because of the age, honestly. But it's like, what do you want from like? Do you want like a more paint-based play finisher, or do you want a guy who has more certainty as a shooter with Fleming? Right? I know some people like Essengue's offensive upside. I can't get there. I just think his handle and his processing speed and his touch and his shooting are too far away for me to really be super confident. He's great in transition. He's going to draw fouls. He's going to dunk the ball. Like that's all well and good. And I think he has some like a little bit of passing juice. Like he can hit cutters out of the post, but it's just like on the move. I don't love how he reads the game. But Fleming is much more just like straight line drives, cut finishes and spot up threes. Like you kind of know what you're getting with Fleming. And I don't think Fleming is like a surefire lock to be a great NBA shooter. Like,
oh no,
obviously he shot the ball well this year. He was 39% this year, but even just like looking across his entire career, like it's pretty good. It's 35% on like 330 total attempts. Free throw just below 70, which I don't care a ton about, honestly. But yeah, it's just like it's still like below the volume you'd like to see. And, it's like, was this a 1-year hot shooting streak? I think I trust Fleming to be a fine enough shooter. Like, I don't think he'll be bad or like horrible, but like that's certainly possible. But I do think his defense is kind of crazy enough that I'm willing to take like a mid-late, like I wouldn't take him at 13, but I'd be very cool with him at 22.
Definitely makes sense. And I feel the same way about 22 and 13 with him. These guys are different, but I want to make sure I ask you about both of them, so I'm going to do them kind of together. Carter Bryant and Cedric Coward are both in the mid.
I think of them
range
in a similar way.
And they're similar size, positional stuff, and also I don't know, all of the buzz, at least the public buzz, has been Hawks looking at obviously they have more needs, quote unquote, at guard and big, but like you can't have too many of these wing forward types.
It's just such a Hawks thing to do.
Well,
like,
regardless. I would be anyway. So you don't have to tell me who you like more, which you can do, but do you like Carter Bryant? Do you like Cedric? Obviously, Coward's much more. I find the range on Coward is bigger. Bryant, it's like kind of like an easier projection, even if you don't. He hasn't done it yet because he has a small role in Arizona, all those things, but like. I'll let you go on those two guys. Compare, contrast, whatever you want to do.
They are two guys where like sample size is a notable thing, right?
Yeah.
With Carter, it's obviously just like the one season and the usage. It's like most of my feelings on Carter are pretty positive, but then I have him like 18 and he's like 12 by consensus. And I'm like, I feel like I'm too low on him, but I just, again,
well, he was 18 a month ago. I mean, you know this, like he had this, he suddenly went from like 20 to 12 in like a week. And it was like, oh, okay.
His offense is just too far away for me to really get though. Like he's a very nice spot up shooter. There's some passing flash. He's a great finisher. Like he's a pure play finisher to me and lacks kind of like the athletic juice. I've seen OG comparisons to him. And I just think OG had a totally different level of athleticism and twitch and advantage creation, even when he was in that in a low usage role, right? But I do think there's some like really impressive stuff he does on defense. Like, what if he, is like Patrick Williams, but actually good? Like that's a good player.
Yeah.
I think he has just this incredible ability to protect the rim and to block shots with his great range and like ground coverage. He is a freaking awesome just roamer. Obviously has like crazy steals, crazy block numbers. But he is a super impressive athlete. Like he gets off the floor so quickly. He's so quick, like changing direction. Definitely not perfect. Like he'll miss rotations. He can be too upright on the ball, but like he can also like block jumpers. And when he does sit down and like pressure the ball with his length, it's pretty scary, the stuff that he can do. But Bryant, I mean, I understand why people like him. Like he's really young. He has a clean 3-and-D projection. I think Coward has a less clean projection, and I agree with Coward being lower than Bryant, but not as lower as they are apart in consensus.
Well, yeah, I mean, I find it actually. I think Coward's offensive upside I like more, but Bryant's defensive floor projection is really intriguing, and I think it'd be a pretty good play finisher. It's I just find it's an interesting comparison because like what's your tolerance for how big of a swing you want to take is kind of like where you are on Coward for me. Cause it's like, I can see some downside, but I also see some real exciting upside. And he's also older. How much do you care about that? It's like all this stuff thrown in a mix. Like I've literally talked to people, I'm sure you have too, in the last couple of weeks. It's like, I have Coward at 8 or I have Coward at 34. It's like, there's a pretty big disparity there. And Bryant, like we talked about, he hasn't, it's such a weird profile. I'm not going to make the comparison that I want to make because I don't want to get yelled on YouTube. So I'm not going to do it. But
what's the comparison that you want to make? You can't just say that.
Marvin Williams.
Oh, interesting. I can see that. That makes sense.
And of course, the fundamental difference is
just not enough like mid-range pull-up scoring.
Well, yeah, I mean, not exactly play, but it's a low usage, one and done forward. Came off the bench at a blue blood program. But the difference is this is the 13th pick, not the second pick. So like the projection, but I have said and I will say forever, if Marvin Williams had a good career, like a really good career, he just wasn't Chris Paul. But if you can get Marvin Williams at 13, you'd be dancing in the streets.
Yeah, you love that. That's awesome.
So anyway, that's just and Coward. I don't know. Coward's offensive swing is interesting to me. If you're trying to find like the unique case of a older guy, weird like upside bet, he might be the one. Maybe it's him or maybe
I'd rather just take Nique. I was gonna say.
I was gonna ask you that. That's where I was going next. Is Nique Clifford?
Coward, I think has an interesting upside case as well. I do agree with that, and he's another one who I like understand why people like a lot, and I don't think it's like insane to be crazy high on him because his combination of flexibility, length, and touch to me are very unique. Like Carter doesn't have the kind of touch or flexibility that he does. Drake Powell like has the crazy flexibility, and he doesn't have the touch like that. Even like a Adiero, he's just a very skilled player who has just been ridiculously efficient from mid-range. Even like he shot 66.7% from mid-range in like 8 games this year, but even like his last year at Eastern Washington it was 58%, then 57% the year before. He's kind of a weird offensive player because he's a post-up guy, or at least at Eastern Washington he was a post-up guy and he was pretty good. He was good at it by college standards, but like I don't know if he's going to get post-ups in the league, but I think having that projects him well. Like I like players who did a lot of different things in college and had different usage level roles, different places on the floor, different play types, and Coward definitely fits that. It just like his defense to me is quite shaky, and he has a long way to go in terms of like decision making and just his overall offensive process. Like his handle is not great at the moment, even though some of the flashes are so impressive where you can like control the ball and use his flexibility to create shots in the intermediate. But like the upside case for Coward is definitely like his crazy touch and crazy finishing. Like he finished 70% at the rim in the half court his last full season at Eastern Washington. Again, it's like worst competition, but 70% in the half court is crazy. But the thing with Coward, right, is like he's 21 and pretty much all of the games he's played against higher level teams, he hasn't been that good. Like he struggled against Iowa this year, last year in most of the games, at least statistically, and some of the ones that I watched, he wasn't that great. So, if Coward had a full season this year playing real teams, would he get better and, look good against good competition? Possibly. That happens all the time. It just sucks that we didn't get to see that. But yeah, I think like you said at the beginning, it really does just like relate to your risk tolerance here, because it is absolutely a very risky bet, but what I think could pay off pretty big if you are willing to take it. So I don't hate having him high, even though I don't.
Today's show is brought to you by WayFair. There's nothing like stepping into the outdoor space that you have and feeling like it's actually your own personal oasis. If you want to update that patio set this season, WayFair has made it so easy to go ahead and do that, turn the space into something that feels like your own, comfortable, stylish, and ready for the summer. At WayFair, they have everything you need to level up your outdoor space in general. That includes conversation sets, outdoor bars, fire pits, hot tubs, gazebos, and the perfect string lights to actually vibe up the backyard the way that you want it to be. It's like giving your backyard a reset, actually with that resort feel, without any of the resort price tags to go along with it. And if you have a budget like I always work within, you can actually filter out and find exactly what you need with WayFair. It's also the case you actually don't want a massive space as well. You want to work in a smaller area. So all that is available to you at WayFair. And delivery is always free, fast, and totally hassle-free at WayFair, even for the larger items. That's been huge for me in the past, and it would be for you as well. And now, whether it's an event that I'm actually hosting people or just unwinding on my own in a small group or by myself, it generally feels like a personal and private retreat for me. Don't wait. Make your outdoor space your dream oasis right now today with WayFair and enjoy it all summer long. Head to wayfair.com right now. Shop a huge outdoor selection. That is WAYFAIR, wayfair.com. That's wayfair.com. WayFair, every style, every home. I wanted to make sure I asked you about Nique Clifford, who we just mentioned. But I had John in the Wasserman on maybe earlier this week, last week, and he loves Nique Clifford. I know you're high on Nique Clifford. I like Nique Clifford a lot. And when you were talking about how you like guys that did different kinds of things in college, Nique Clifford is one of those guys. Like his role changed a lot over the course of college, and he's an older guy. He might be, I think he is the oldest guy that I think is like even in first round range. He's 20.
It's him and Cam Jones.
And maybe Kalkbrenner is the same age too, right?
Kalkbrenner's about this. Kalkbrenner's a little older. I have like Jameer Watkins that high, but he's not going
to. But Clifford's the only guy who could go like 14th that I think is 23 years old. But I like him a lot. What do you? I know you like him. What do you like about him? And would you consider him as high as 13 if you were the Hawks?
Yeah, I would. I mean, like just based off like draft value, like maybe not, because you can maybe trade down and get him. But like he's projected at 20 in consensus. Like that means he could jump up 5 spots and go at 15. I don't know. He's just such a good basketball player, and like you said, has improved a ton throughout his college career. Has played a lot of different roles. I mean, at this point, he's a full-on primary creator who hits shots off the dribble and, is super efficient. Like he's one of the highest usage players in the class. He was in the top 10 this year for usage rate. And he was in the top 25-ish for efficiency among all players in this class. Like he improved so much as a mid-range shooter, which was cool. Like that wasn't something he had before in these last couple of years. Like his mid-range per 100 possessions volume went from 4.6 last year to 7.3 this year, and 38.1% to 45.9%. And that's with him also being like a good shooter. Nique across his career, like 36% on 400 attempts, like not perfect, but I buy his shot. The thing with Nique, I think he has like a sneaky case as the best passer in the draft, and there's like nobody talks about that. I've been doing these like pass charting metric things where I just like watch players' passes and write down a bunch of stats. Nique Clifford he is such a manipulative player. Like the way he can use no looks and move defenders with their eyes. I had it tracked that he manipulated defenders on 13% of his passing chances this year, and that was the highest of any player I've tracked. And he also, in terms of just like high value passes, he tracks with the best players, with the best passers in the class. Like his ability, he's developed so much. They spam like pick and rolls, and he'll just like no look it to the weak side when they're tagging the roller. He's an incredible passer, and his defense is great. And I think it'll be better when he's in the NBA and doesn't have a gazillion usage. I love Nique. He's just good. I wish he wasn't so frail. I wish he was a bit stronger, but he's like kind of wiry strong, even though he's, not super built.
I say this jokingly, but also true. He's kind of like old man strength. Like he's just an adult in the way that, like, in a good way. I just like everything about him, honestly. If he was 19, he would be quite high, I think, on a lot of people's boards.
I don't think he's like Desmond Bane as a player, but I think he's like Desmond Bane in that this is a guy who could go 22nd and be an all-star in 3 years. Like, I wouldn't necessarily bet on it. Like, I don't think it was a guarantee that Bane developed into the version of the player he is.
Agreed.
But yeah, I mean, like he's just so good at everything, and a player that, is both well-rounded and has, distinct strengths. This is a dumb thing that I like to do is I watch every player's I watch all of the prospects dunks, and I chart how many of them are like self-created dunks, whether that's like attack and closeout, isolation, post, pick and roll. Nique has the most in the class. He has the most of any player in this draft. And he's a like legit athlete. I need to stop. I could talk about him for longer, but
no, it's all right. I like him. That's why I wanted to ask about him. We're almost to the part where I'm just going to ask you to talk about guys you like. But one more guy that I have not talked about a lot that I know because I've seen your board that you actually have in a draftable range for the Hawks is Adiero. And I wonder, again, I'm just being cognizant of the fact that I have talked about him. I should talk about him, and you're here, and I know you like him. So tell people a little bit about his appeal as a potential. Maybe at 22.
It's honestly kind of insane to me that he's projected as low as he is. Like, I'm not even a huge Thiero guy, I'm not even a huge Thiero guy, but like there's no way he's not a first round guy. There are people who have him in the lottery, which I think is a little rich, but like I understand the sell because he is a legitimately special athlete. As a 6'6", 6'7" wing, like unbelievable shot blocker, on-ball defender, defensive playmaker, incredible slasher, draws a ton of fouls, like was so efficient this year, despite having like zero jumper, not being a good free throw shooter. But like his like short mid-range touch is pretty incredible. He has, I believe, what is it? Yeah, like the 10th highest mid-range shooting of any player in this class. And when you look at like guys who actually shot on volume, he's like second or third. Super efficient, and he's not like the highest field guy. That's worrying me. Like his passing is fine, but I do think he misses reads and makes some questionable decisions. But yeah, he's not a shooter, but he's so good at everything else and has like obvious pathways to being good outside of being a shooter. Like with how excellent his slashing is, like he is a legitimate awesome driving creator, and I don't think that should just like totally go underrated. And I would absolutely love if the Hawks took him. It would be so cool if the Hawks took him. Like he would fit so well with him, and Dyson and Jalen Johnson would be absolutely absurd.
Just have it creating him. I mean, yeah,
that would be absurd.
Just do my bit as always. Like you can't have too many of these guys. Like if you believe in the offense at all, like he's such a dynamic athlete. Defensively, I think he'll be really good.
He's younger than Cedric Coward. I feel like people talk about him like it's the other way.
I think that's true. I mean, that's a good point to make. And look, I am, to be clear, deeply skeptical of his offense. I don't know if I believe it at all. But
I'm also
if it works at all, and that's why you have him where you have him. Like that's why he's in the 20s and not in the lottery. Like if he had a more polished offensive game that was like projectable, he would probably be a lot. He'd probably be where Carter Bryant is. You know what I mean? Like he'd be in that like late lottery kind of range. Instead, he's like, what, on the consensus board right now, I think he's 32.
Like that's nuts to me. Even that low. Where, like I said, people on like draft Twitter and maybe it's just like the people I see or interact with like have him stupidly high. And it's another one where like I don't agree, but if I squint, I can see the vision kind of just like if this is a guy who is a like pretty devastating downhill advantage creator and finisher. And it's like we've seen guys like that just develop into stars because they have that one superpower, like not necessarily projecting Thiero to be that, but it's not like it wouldn't so shock me if in 5 years he was an all-star, even though I wouldn't project it.
I mean, he's so athletic that helps a lot. I mean, it's just the thing you can kind of cover up a lot if you're that kind of nuclear NBA level athlete. All right, I think we're at the time now where I'm gonna just have you talk about guys you want to talk about. I know there are some guys that you're higher on. Like I know you're a Janai Broom fan, for instance, like that. But I'll let you take it wherever you want to go. Anybody that we have not talked about could be a second round pick. I'll give my spiel now. Hawks will have a second round pick, but it's not hard to get one. They can get back in the second round. Could be 2A UDFA. Like anybody that you think you're like they're your guys in the post lottery range.
I'm surprised that I'm high. I'm surprised that I'm high on Broom. I don't feel like I'm that high on Broom. I just think he's like a functional NBA big bet.
I mean, you're not that high, but you're not low on him. Like some people are.
At the end of the first round, this draft falls off a cliff. I think through like the end of the first, it's really strong, but like after that, it's just huge. But yeah, I mean, Broom is just a really good player. Like, at some point you just draft good players, and Broom has been one of the best in all of college basketball for quite some time now. Like he's an awesome playmaker. I think he's a pretty good shooting bet as well, like better than Sorber, better than Malawash, better than a lot of the bigs that we've talked about. But yeah, I'm definitely a fan of his. Like nothing so crazy on defense. Like he's not that big. I definitely wish he was bigger, but like he could be Daniel Tice-ish, I think, like a little shorter, but like has some, a little bit of coverage versatility on defense. Can finish around the rim, can pass. I just think he's a solid rotation center bet. But I do definitely prefer. I feel like we've mentioned Kalkbrenner, but not talked about him. And he's one of like my absolute favorite Hawks fits.
Yeah, I mean, I like him too, but tell me why.
Again, just like the Hawks need a tall guy who can block shots and grab ball. Like it really is that simple. But
is he just a drop guy for you defensively? Can you do anything else?
Probably just mid drop. But he is such a good rim protector that I think like that can be okay. Like yeah, he's definitely a drop big for sure. But Kalkbrenner is such an interesting offensive player to me too, because he's like not only I like him more than your average old guy, like older prospect, because he dominated college basketball from the very beginning. Like he was a sick college player when he was a freshman. Like, and even though he didn't play as much, and he like got better and added things to his game every year. Like he increased his shooting volume a little bit. I think he's more comfortable like running dribble handoffs and playing out of the post, like the high post as a playmaker. So he's got a diverse offensive skill set. He's a great screener. He's probably the best screener in the class, but his main issues are just like he's not super athletic. His physicality is an issue, which like he can get pushed off his spot and bumped on both ends quite a bit. Like Broom definitely Broom and Cardwell like gave him big problems. But he can also just shoot over these guys too, because he has like a 7'6" wingspan and he's like 7'2" or whatever. But I love him for Atlanta at 22. He's one where like I wouldn't take him at 13, but if they did, I'd understand it. Like and there are people on draft Twitter who want that and who would do that. And I don't think it's like so crazy. I understand it just because like he's gonna be a good starting center. I feel pretty confident about.
Well, his numbers are. I mean, his transition numbers are really good. Like a guy that I have talked about, not exactly the same player, but I would be interested in the Hawks trying to sign Luke Cornett this summer. And like there's some similarities there of what Kalkbrenner is like that. I hate using floor and ceiling, but like I think he's gonna be a playable NBA big, like, and that does have value at 22 or even lower than that, which he might go lower than that. So I'm a fan. I like him too. Okay. Oh, do you mind the shooting at all? You think it's a real thing? Does it matter?
It could be.
Burner?
Definitely.
Okay.
I think I'd buy it more. I mean, he shot 34.4% from 3 on almost 3 attempts per 100. That's not good volume by any means, but he's taken 153s in his career.
He'll shoot them.
Definitely, he will take them. I don't think he's ever going to be a difference-making shooter, but I think he could be a guy who hits catch and shoots if you leave him open.
Do you have a favorite second round pick in the class? You mentioned how falls off the cliff.
I always do.
That's why I asked.
This is not a second round guy, but I wanted to. But my other main my guy, I think I'm higher on than consensus, outside of the Queen or Fears or whoever, is Walter Clayton.
Oh, Hawks fans will like this too. I mean, he could be a Hawks guy.
He's unbelievable. I'd love him in Atlanta. I just get higher on him every time I watch him. He's another guy who I charted his passes recently, and he just does really impressively. He's definitely a risk taker and a little wild out there. It's obvious when you watch him play. He has a certain just F it energy about him. But it usually works in his favor. I mean, he was the best player on a dominant national title winning team. And he is legitimately a special shooter. He has been doing this, as we know. There's a chance we would have talked about him on this podcast 2 years ago when he was at Iona. He's been good and on radars for a long time, and he finally just got his chance to break out. He's a special. He's not just a pull-up guy who you have to give the ball to, because he loves doing JJ Redick stuff and sprinting around screens and coming off handoff and shaking guys off the ball to get open and shoot off movement. And he's really quick as well. He's quick. He's vertically explosive. He's a good athlete. He's, like we said, the decision-making is often shaky, right?
Yeah.
That's not his best thing by any means. And he's not the best finisher either. It doesn't get to the rim a ton relative to other guards, but I think he's bursty enough. But and then defensively, I honestly think he has some potential as well, just because he is so athletic. He'll block some shots. He can get in his stance and when he's more engaged. But Clayton's someone who I think is just super safe because of the shooting, but has a real ceiling because of the shooting. And his handle's awesome. He has one of the best handles in the draft. So good at navigating tight spaces. He's one of the best guys in the draft when it comes to splitting pick and rolls and breaking hedges and blitzes. We saw him do it all the time. He's just a nuclear shot maker who is a great athlete and has the requisite feel to make it work. And I just mostly like him because of how great of an off-ball player I think he can be. So I think he fits perfectly on the Hawks for those reasons. I think he's somebody who, again, the Hawks, it's crazy that they still really haven't had anybody in the Trae Young era, next to him, who was a legit on and off ball.
Yeah, they're looking for. I mean, they had DeJounte, that was it, and that didn't. And that was
right, and he's even before they traded him, we knew that he was always a poor off ball player.
Yeah, it didn't work
even more than Trae.
I'm a little
Herder was a good off ball player, but he wasn't as good of a creator.
And Bogey, and they had guys. Yeah, but I am lower on Clayton than you, but also by what you're saying. I think that I worry a little bit about his decision-making, passing stuff. But if you're drafting him as the Hawks at presumably a range that's comfortable to you, he could be a third guard and it's fine. You don't have to have him play point guard.
Hawks some teams comparison, what if he's 75% Lou Williams? He's just that extreme.
Well, that's the idea. Yeah,
that's the idea. Spark who, on his best days looks like a top 30 player, but can just slide. And I think Clayton is probably more off ball slanted than Lou was. They're different players for sure.
He can do more of that. And look, if this may not matter to you, and probably doesn't matter that much to me, I think he can play pretty soon and kind of help you.
I think he could be helpful in an NBA game today. Maybe not in the finals, but
no. But I mean, rookies are bad. I always say that, but he's 22 years old. He's an adult.
You throw him into an average NBA game and he'd be fine today.
Yeah, I tend to agree.
I could ask you about. He's awesome.
Okay. Yeah, I knew you were gonna. I know you liked him. I should have gotten him earlier because
now we can talk about second round people though.
Yeah, if you got anybody that you like, I mean, I know Hawks fans. Well, they wouldn't have agreed that he's even a second round pick. The Hawks fans are obsessed with Hanson Yang. I'll tell you that right now. You mentioned Vlad Golden, obviously speaking my language there, Michigan guy, but I mean, it could be anybody you want to. And again, Hawks get a second round pick. It's not hard to get. If they want to get one, they'll get one.
A lot of some fringy centers. I can imagine them going quickly just because there's so few of them. Like the best ones to me are like Broom. Asa's going to go higher, but I have him in this range. Wolf I have in this range, but he's going to go higher.
Wolf will go higher than this. You got Reno.
I have Reno in this range. Rocco.
He's such a massive human being.
Rocco Zikarsky. Maybe I should move up Hansen because I have him like a tier below those guys. That's probably not correct, honestly. But I worry about his movement significantly, even though it has like made some strides for sure.
That is the concern, to be sure.
But
with
like,
him is, can he move?
It's 2025, and it's really hard to have immobile centers in 2025. It's just it's just a tough ask. And Yang is like a very good shot blocker. He's mostly an offensive guy to me. Like,
yeah,
I like his offense. He was just a really impressive, perimeter hub who can pass as well. He's a pretty nice finisher too. Like, he can definitely do some stuff. And, his block numbers are great. He's obviously a very large person. I actually walked by him at LAX a week or two ago when I was getting on a flight to New York. And I'm like, oh, that's Hansen Yang.
I had a friend that saw him in Atlanta. I won't say who it is. It's not betraying. He visited the Hawks. That's been reported, and that happened. And I had a friend that texted me like basically a picture of him that I wouldn't have taken if it was me, but they took him. And it was like, and I was like, yes, that is Hansen Yang. That is the 7 foot Asian man that you've seen. Yes, that's correct.
He's gigantic. So I understand why people like him. I'm not particularly high on him beyond like just like a second round rotation big. But Golden is definitely my favorite, which I know you're happy about. But
look, he would be. I think he'll get drafted. To be clear, but he would be like the ultimate like priority two-way the day of the draft guy if he's not drafted. Like, I just think he's going to be around the NBA.
He's just a very good college player, great versatile defender. He's a guy who measured as a legit 7-footer. I think had the biggest hands in the class too. It's like gigantic.
Biggest hand width in the class.
Was a great defender for like all of college and can actually move a bit and go on the perimeter. And he's a great finisher. He rebounds. He can pass a little bit. It's like a good low usage two-way center. This is a guy who's going to stick around in the NBA if he gets a shot. And he's older. The ceiling is nothing crazy by any means with a player like him, but this is his rookie contract is just going to be like his prime. I don't know, or like the most of it probably, and that's totally fine with the second round contracts, or even like late first. Not late first, like early mid second. I'd probably consider him. I also just think he's really good at basketball, and
he is.
I like watching him play, but
I am a fan also. I mean, we could do this all day, and I probably should stop talking. But no, I mean, number one, Ben, thank you for being here. Number two, people should be. I know you're doing streams all the time and YouTube all the time. You have a draft. You have a night of the draft show, correct?
I do. I do.
Plug while you're here.
Can I talk about like two more guys really quickly?
Do it. Of course you can. Why not?
Okay, I have like a couple more second round guys, so I want to mention. Cam Jones, if he's there in the second round, I would trade. I would buy it. I would use cash, hard earned American dollars to purchase a pick to draft Cam Jones. Like, again, just like an overthought older player who had a down year from three, but is an unbelievable finisher, one of the best handlers in the draft, great passer, can defend a little bit. Noah Penda, another one, if he's there at 30, like I think he's another contender for best defender in the draft. And like,
I love Noah Penda.
If he shoots, he kind of wing.
I would think about him at 22. Like I like Noah Penda.
That's the range that I have him, but like he's consensus, he goes in the second round sometimes. I like Kobe Brea, Kentucky,
shooting specialist.
That's all he does, and he's like Sam Hauser tier.
Brea is a legitimately great shooter. I don't know if he can do anything else, but he can definitely.
And then the last couple guys who I think are like legitimately very good bets in the second round are Javon Small, West Virginia, who I'm kind of shocked doesn't have more buzz. Just an incredibly good player, like crazy disruptive defender, high volume, efficient pull-up shooter, really good passer, can get to the paint whenever he wants. Like, he's not a crazy finisher or like high volume, shot creator, but projects as a rock solid, like two-way point guard who I'm again just like surprised is so faded in consensus boards. And then Jameer Watkins at Florida State, kind of like a Nique. Honestly, like a lot of my thoughts about Nique extend to Jameer, even though like I think he's just like not as toned down in a lot of areas, but crazy athlete creator at Florida State, definitely overtaxed, but carried that offense.
Yeah, bad. That was a bad team too.
He's just a good two-way wing bet. And then Sion James, who is kind of an odd one, like 6'3" or 6'4", whatever, built like a brick wall. Awesome on-ball defender, but was also like Duke's nominal point guard at times, and ran the offense and passed the ball, and he shot well from three. He can't really score, which is the issue, but that's just like a two-way role player. If the shot is legit, I really like Sion James as well. So, I mean, that's probably enough. I think I covered everyone I really wanted to talk about.
Well, it's we could do this forever, and I wouldn't mind it.
One more Hawks related question, since I've seen this guy mocked to them. What do you think of Drake Powell?
I mean, I like Drake Powell. He is extremely athletic, and I think that he shouldn't have gone to UNC.
I've warmed up to him. I like him at 22 for similar reasons to like Coward and Fleming. Also, I think the Hawks getting the possibility that Jace Richardson falls to 22. I would take him at 13 and be happy, but
I for some teams would take Jace at 13. As the Hawks, I don't think I would. I wouldn't be furious if they did it. You know what I mean? I think it'd be reasonable. I think just because of how small he is and some of the Trey Fit stuff, I wouldn't love it at 13.
I think he's like the best off-ball offensive player in the class. Defensively, I have it would not be good.
Well, that's the thing about
but
that. Like, yeah, I mean,
yeah.
And again, but to stay true to what I said earlier, and bring it full circle, like I think if he's your best player available, you don't not take him because of that. Like you just figure it out.
There would probably be guys I'd prefer over Jace at 13, but I would still like that a lot. And at 22, it would just be like a crazy home run.
Yeah, I agree. 22 would be good value. I mentioned it before, but your live draft show or everything else you've got going, people should. I mean, if they made it this far, they're probably sickos and they should be following you already. But
you're insane.
What's going on?
And I appreciate it. Thanks for having me on. This is always a blast. Always look forward to these insanely late nights because your schedule is insane.
It's only 1:30 a.m. Eastern right now. What do you mean?
But yeah, so next week, June 25th and 26th, right? Is that Wednesday and Thursday? I think.
Yep, that's right.
I will be live on my YouTube channel throughout all of day 1 and 2, plus a little before and after for some pre and post draft analysis. I do this every year. It's awful, but I love it. And we're gonna have guests. I'm gonna have some visuals and things. So very basic and uninteresting, but something. So yeah, that's good. And then just everything I write or make videos will be on my YouTube or my Twitter. But yeah, that's about it.
You're everywhere. You write all over the place. I'm like, oh yeah, where was that piece at? And then it's the other place that you write it. It's always somewhere. But follow Ben on Twitter and YouTube. That's probably a safe place to get all your stuff. And then at some point you'll get the bat signal from me and like, hey, 26 class, here we are, we're ready to go.
Oh, it's gonna be so sick. I can't wait for next year.
Before the draft even starts, that's actually my barometer for like the true sickos. When people are like, all right, 26 talk, and it's like, hey, the draft hasn't even happened yet. We're not even, you got to wait till like next week or the week after to start doing 26 talk. But thank you again, Ben. I appreciate it as always. Sincerely, especially this close to the draft. I know how busy you are. We appreciate it. Listeners appreciate it. As for everybody else, subscribe to Locked On Hawks as well. Tell your friends about the podcast, and we'll see everybody next time.